Kamehameha V was born on December 11th, 1830, with the Christian name Lot and the Hawaiian name Kapuāiwa, meaning mysterious kapu, or the sacred one, protected by supernatural powers. His full name, though, was Lot Kapuāiwa Kalani Makua Aliʻi Olani Kalani Kapuāiwa Kalani Nui. He was born to mother High Chiefess Elizabeth Kina'u, daughter of King Kamehameha I, and father Chief Mataio Kekuanoʻa, who served as governor for Oahu for many years. Prince Lot had three brothers, David Kamehameha, Moses Kekuāiwa, and Alexander Liholiho, the future King Kamehameha IV. He had one sister, Princess Victoria Kamamalu. Shortly after birth, young Lot was given into the care of Chief Hoapili, a relative who lived in Lahaina, Maui. There he raised Lot as his grandson and as a Hanai child of Princess Harriet Nahi'enaena, daughter of King Kamehameha I and Keopuolani. Lot Kapuāiwa was educated at the chief's children's school from the age of 9, a boarding school only for children of Aliʻi. This school later became known as Royal School, which still remains today. After leaving school, Prince Lot traveled abroad with his brother Alexander Liholiho. With the supervision of their guardian, Dr. Judd, the young princes sailed to San Francisco in September of 1849. After their tour of California, they continued on to Panama, Jamaica, New York, and Washington, D.C. They even toured Europe and met with various heads of states, including French President Louis Napoleon, British Prince Consort Albert, husband to Queen Victoria, and U.S. President Zachary Taylor. Prince Lot ascended the throne in November 30th, 1863, after the death of his brother Alexander Liholiho. Then he claimed the title King Kamehameha V. His views of the kingdom, though, differed from his predecessor. He didn't want to uphold the previous constitution. So in May of 1864, the new king called for a constitutional convention, later proposing rather a new constitution than amending the old one. The convention ran smoothly until the 62nd article, which limited voters to being residents who passed the literacy test and possessed property or had income qualifications. In August, the king signed the 1864 Constitution of the Hawaiian Kingdom and took an oath to protect it. The Constitution was based on its original draft, but 20 articles were deleted. The king modeled his leadership style after his grandfather, King Kamehameha I, believing that a sovereign's power should be absolute. King Kamehameha V was the first king to encourage the revival of traditional practices. Under his reign, the laws against kahunaism were repealed and a Hawaiian Board of Medicine was established. This brought practicing kahuna and la'au practitioners the ability to practice again publicly. Practitioners were brought to Honolulu to document their remedies. In 1865, a bill was brought before the legislature permitting the sale of liquor to Native Hawaiians. King Kamehameha V shot it down, surprising supporters of the bill. He stated, "I will never sign a death warrant of my people." Alcoholism was one of the many causes of the already declining Native Hawaiian population. During the king's 9-year reign, travel to Hawaii increased. In March of 1866, American writer Mark Twain visited the islands aboard the Ajax. He stayed for 4 months under his real name, Samuel Clemens, writing letters back to Sacramento Union. Mark Twain was his pen name. Mark Twain described the king with many accolades, saying he was a wise sovereign. He had seen something of the world. He was educated and accomplished, and he tried hard to do well by his people and succeeded. There was no trivial royal nonsense about him. He dressed plainly, poked about Honolulu night or day on his old horse unattended. He was popular, greatly respected, and even beloved. Despite being loved by many, the king failed, however, to name his successor. His sister, Victoria Kamamalu, was named crown princess and heir apparent to the throne. Unfortunately, though, she died childless in 1866, and through the remainder of his reign, King Kamehameha V would never name an heir. On his deathbed, he asked Princess Bernice Pauahi Bishop to take the throne, but she denied, saying, "Please don't think of me." He passed away on his birthday, unfortunately, December 11th, 1872. Lot Kapuāiwa was the last remaining monarch of the House of Kamehameha, styled under the Kamehameha name. But since he didn't name his successor, the 1864 Constitution, his constitution, mandated the next monarch be named by a legislative vote. The top running candidates in the election were Prince William Charles Lunalilo and David Kalakaua. However, Princess Ruth Ke'elikolani, Queen Emma, and Princess Pauahi were also listed on the ballot. 1 week before the legislative election, an unofficial general election was held at the request of Prince Lunalilo, allowing the people to cast their votes. The results proved a landslide for Prince Lunalilo with over 12,000 popular votes, while David Kalakaua received only 12. Princess Ruth got 30, Queen Emma 9, Princess Pauahi only 1. On January 8, 1873, the legislators gathered at the Honolulu courthouse to cast their ballots. In the legislative sweep, Prince Lunalilo claimed all 37 votes, becoming King Lunalilo and the first elected monarch to the Hawaiian Kingdom. Fast forward to today, King Kamehameha V has legacies that still remain. He founded the Royal Order of Kamehameha I on April 11, 1865, to honor his grandfather, King Kamehameha I. Today, the order has 10 chapters, 9 of which are currently active. Interestingly, Kamehameha Day was established by King Kamehameha I. For his birthday, 1 year, the people of Hawaii loved King Kamehameha V so much that they wanted to honor him with a holiday. The king humbly refused, but instead wanted to honor his grandfather. So he chose a date furthest away from his birthday, June 11th, as a designated date to honor his grandfather, King Kamehameha I. So June 11th, 1872 was the first ever Kamehameha Day. The Prince Hula Festival is named in honor of King Kamehameha V because of his efforts to restore the hula when it was banned from being practiced. The festival was held at the king's former home at Moanalua Gardens every third Saturday of July since 1977. That was until recent years when it moved to Iolani Palace. This year, though, due to the pandemic, for the first time ever, the 43rd annual Prince Hula Festival was held virtually at Queen Emma's Summer Palace, continuing the tradition and keeping it alive. The king had a motto, Onipa'a, meaning immovable, steadfast, firm, and determined. He worked diligently for his people, being described as the last great chief of the olden type.